Before we get started with this video, I want to thank Brian from GQ Jewelers. They're located here in San Diego, California, and if you know anything about this channel is that I like to support local businesses. GQ Jewelers will lend me the watches from time to time. I get to make content and hopefully you guys will support them in return. I'll leave a link to their website and social media accounts. My love affair with watches all began about 10 years ago with the Seiko SKX 007. Man, when I had that watch, I thought I pretty much had the Rolex Submariner from the Seiko lineup. I mean, for sub $200, you got an ISO certified watch with an in-house automatic movement, 200 meters of water resistance, crazy lume, and a beautiful design. Everyone raved about that watch, but what made me pull the trigger was this man, TGV. Side note, it's crazy to think that your YouTube idols can become your friends. Okay, back to the task at hand. Seiko watches for many years were the gateway into the hobby, and they were super affordable. I believe they're still a gateway for many, but affordable, well, let's just say the market corrected itself. Nonetheless, Seiko watches offer tremendous value, and I still would recommend them to any new and seasoned collectors. When the SKX was discontinued and the new Seiko 5 was redesigned, and it pretty much looked like an SKX but lacked the water resistance, ISO certification, and was a lot more expensive, I completely lost it and refused to accept the new line. Fast forward to 2022 and Seiko released their Seiko 5 GMT watches in 3 colorways. And I have to tell you, I forgive Seiko for discontinuing the SKX and giving us this sub $500 watch. Prior to this watch, getting into an automatic GMT watch was going to cost you in the thousands. What Seiko's able to do time and time again is bring cool watches with in-house components to the masses. The specifications of this watch are as follows. The case measures in at 42.5 millimeters, it's 46 millimeters from lug to lug, 22 millimeters in between the lugs, and it's 13.6 millimeters thick. The watch weighs in at 161 grams with the incised bracelet, comes with a Harlex crystal, and a water resistance of 100 meters. What I love about this watch is that in essence it's an SKX, with a few upgrades of course. One thing I really do love is the new cases. They have drill lugs. This makes strap changing a lot easier and it gives them more of a tool watch aesthetic. Another cool aspect of this watch is the bidirectional friction bezel that can help with tracking a third time zone. In most lights, it appears to be only one color, kind of like a black, but it's actually a bicolored bezel. It has black, silver at the bottom. Interesting to note is that this bezel resembles a ceramic bezel, but in fact it has a Harlex crystal protecting the aluminum insert. Now, protecting the dial, we also find a Harlex crystal. However, I'm not a huge fan of Harlex crystals. I've never had an issue with them, but I just personally prefer sapphire. Furthermore, I'm not sure how I feel about Seiko using a Cyclops to magnify the date. That's more in the Rolex DNA, but I love Seiko. I'll let it slide. The dial is beautiful and Seiko opted for applied indices as opposed to printed like in the SKX. I'm not a big fan of the Seiko 5 logo, but eventually it will grow on me, maybe. The watch does feature a push and pull crown at the 4 o'clock, but I personally like screw down crowns. But with this crown, it does make it easy to adjust the time on the fly. The Lume bright glows very nice. I mean, it's a Seiko. It's been applied on the indices, hands. Seiko, in my opinion, I said it before, has the best lume in the business, much better than a lot more expensive Swiss watches. And believe me, I've reviewed a few. And those are just the facts, not my personal opinion. Another huge improvement over the SKX is the Jubilee style bracelet. I mean, the clasp is still folded metal, but overall, the feel of the solid links is much better, and yes, this does feature solid end links as well. The watch is very comfortable to wear, and I personally have always loved the way this case fits on my 6 and 7/8 inch wrists. Also, the 22mm lugs mean this watch looks great on a lot of different straps. It's also cool that this watch gives us a display caseback, and through that display caseback we get to admire the in-house automatic caliber 4R34 that can be hand wound and features hacking. The caliber does feature 24 joules, 41 hours of power reserve, and it beats at 21,600 bph. Lastly, let's talk the GMT functionality. This GMT movement is called a collar GMT. The GMT hand can be operated independently of the main hour and minute hand. A collar GMT also allows the date to be adjusted in the same crown position that the GMT hand is. Someone, for instance, calling into different time zones would use the local hands differently than a traveler GMT. The GMT hand would reflect where they're calling. Overall, this watch is a must for anyone looking for a GMT watch that doesn't break the bank. Seiko recently released different colorways, and this movement of course is being used by a lot of micro brands, so owning a cool affordable automatic GMT watch just got easier. The watch is not perfect, but for a watch that's entirely made in-house, costs less than $500, and gets the respect from the watch community, it's a fantastic piece. And I actually ended up adding this one to my collection. I can't wait to see what other cool watches come out using this movement. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and don't forget to go support my friends over at GQ Jewelers and of course this channel. Until next time, be safe out there and stay humble, my friends.